Oh, hi! This week, we're going to overhaul this stupid fucking dress. I thrifted it many years ago, and I have worn it a few times. I don't mind the low cut front and back of the bodice part. The sleeves hit a little weird. I do find myself wanting to push them up, but there's almost not enough to keep them pushed up, if that makes sense. So I should probably just shorten them, especially because my fairy godchild sent me twin needles because I very aggressively broke my last and only twin needle. I will put a card up here if you want to watch that shit show. You know, the end result of what I was working on was good, right? It's bonkers how much better my sewing has gotten this year. It's as if when you practice, you make progress. I like that it is black and brown. No, black and blue stripes. Gold and white stripes. See, I'm relevant with the kids. Because if you don't know this about me, I fucking love stripes, especially big blocky stripes. But it's like not quite empire waisted, but definitely not high waisted. Like it doesn't cinch in at a very flattering spot for me. Regardless of the reasoning, I don't find this flattering on me and I don't feel confident when I'm wearing it. But there's potential in this slab of marble and we're gonna carve it out of there. I did something that I have been doing more this year, but I don't honestly do very often, which is sketch things out ahead of time. So I have a couple different ideas. All of them involve the bodice getting separated from the skirt. So I think before I make any other decisions, I need to get to unpicking. So it's two separate pieces, all serged together with this thin, like 1/4 inch wide elastic going on. So I'm gonna take all of that apart and then we will go from there. And because it's been a while and it's either having a beer or taking ibuprofen for the pain I am in, not that I'm saying like, hey, self-medicate, you choose your own poison. I want the one that, you know, yeah, it's still bad for my liver, but at least tastes good. So here's what you need. I mean, as far as supplies, all I can confirm right now is a seam ripper. So I'll meet you on the other side of unpicking all of these goddamn stitches. Hi, hey, hello. Is anyone surprised it is the next day? No, of course not. Here is skirt tube, which I am very uninterested in wearing this as a skirt with like an elastic waist, but I have ideas. Actually, you already saw the sketch, so you probably know what the plan is. And this is the top. I am in fact just going to add some lace to the bottom of this. The top's going to be nice and uncomplicated for once. Now I have a few different lace options, one of which is this old dress top that used to be a whole dress, as implied by me calling it a dress top. But I actually don't recall the top fitting, which actually gives me a lot of ideas as far as sheer tops, like just doing a built-in camisole like this, which is why I love taking clothes apart just to see how they all go together. But there's not a ton of stretch to this and I just don't want to fight with that right now. And then this other lace I was considering, ooh, like fun florals and stuff. But then you like look at the pattern, and there's like really creepy clown faces on it and I don't like it. I would prefer them to look like skulls, but that's not what is happening. So there I was going through my pile of stuff and just getting frustrated because god damn it, I want black lace on the bottom of this. And then I remembered I have this pretty stretchy, I was gonna say very stretchy, and then it didn't stretch very far. All right, that's fairly stretchy. It's actually like ruffle yarn. It's meant to make those ruffly scarves and I use it all of the time. Yes, there are these little holes at the top that are meant for the crocheting knitting action, but I just make sure that that's caught in the seam allowance. So I will be adding this to the bottom here. And then I did a little sketch here, which doesn't even portray all of the parts of the skirt. I'm going to make a pinafore in this particular style, like I did when I worked through the Tilly and the Buttons stretch book using the Bibi skirt pattern. Would highly recommend doing the skirt, but I'm gonna add a pinafore bit to the skirt and then some straps. The one thing I'm gonna change is just narrowing the pinafore piece because it was a little too much for me on the last one. I have some black knit scraps. This is a lighter weight knit than they recommend using in the book, but it's also what I have and I want it to be close to this thin t-shirt material that the dress is made out of to begin with, just so it's similar weight all the way around. So we'll see how it goes. I already don't wear this, so even if I just get a crop top that I try out, because I just don't normally feel comfortable in them, especially if there's like an overall pinafore bit. I think I'll be more comfortable with it. I have thought with the other pinafore that I made with the black and white stripe panel that it would look cute with a crop top. I keep saying on someone else, but why not on me? I do have a chest deformity that does make wearing certain garments interesting on me, and that is why I tend to avoid crop tops or like plunging neckline type things, because I get a weird chest hole situation, if you are new around here and haven't heard me complain about it before. Aesthetically, it's just kind of weird. I'm not necessarily self-conscious about it, but like it does make things unflattering because of my torso shape. It's distorted in ways that most people are not, where my actual complaints about it are that, you know, it's compressing my heart and lungs, but you know, it's fine. It doesn't at all stress me out that our current pandemic involves a virus that limits your lung capacity. I'm already only at 70%, so not freaked out at all about going outside ever. We are sewing to escape the nightmare. So anyways, I am hoping I have enough of this material to cut out all of the other pieces. This skirt is made out of 4 identical panels that go around, and then, you know, you make a waistband, and then I'm gonna add all the fancy Pinafore shit to the top. This will make up the 2 side panels, and then I'll use this plain black for the front and back panels. I hope this works out. I have a vision. I want it to come to fruition. Ooh, and while I'm at my cutting table, I am gonna shorten these sleeves just a little bit. We're gonna go up like maybe to this blue stripe here. I should try it on. Okay, hold on. I will try it on and then I will mark it and then I will bring it over there like a fucking professional. Okay, I think specifically because I have high-waisted jeans on, I just, not my thing. Like, remember when belly button piercings were a thing? Do people still do those? I don't know, but they always like freaked me out a little bit. It does actually come to like a great height. My complaint about the waistline of this dress is that it wasn't quite at empire waist, which I fucking hate anyway, right? Not empire, but not so far down that it's hitting like this smaller part of me, right? It's like between. But that actually seems like kind of the perfect length for a crop top situation. Because if it was lower, I wouldn't have an issue with the original dress to begin with. Any higher, this is chest hole situation. So like I don't want it any further up than that. And I think adding a little lace will be nice. So then if I'm moving around, yes, it's working up, but the lace is going to cover like this distorted bit, you know? I don't know. I'm not as freaked out about this as I was expecting to be. I think this is progress with my confidence levels. That feels pretty nice. Okay, I'm gonna, oh right, the whole point of putting this on was to check the sleeves. Yeah, I actually think it needs to come up to like here. I'm okay with these being longer, but as I constantly complain about, we gotta move this up above the elbows. Okay, so a lot has happened to me physically, mentally, spiritually, but as far as the actual project goes, I got all the fabric cut and I was able to use the scrappy bits I had to get enough pieces to make the pinafore that I want to make, which I'm very excited about. I was starting to go ahead on the construction of things and was like, right, dummy, you're filming a video. I have actually done some projects that I haven't filmed the process of, so if you're interested in like a roundup of pandemic makes, let me know, and later this month I can show you some of the stuff I have either tweaked or made from scratch, or any of those things that I haven't specifically made videos on, because there are a bunch of things. I've been very prolific during this time. All right, so here is my lace loop. What I did, because this will stretch to whatever size, but this does not have as much stretch as I initially thought once like the whole width of the thing is going, because if you try to pull just one part of it, it goes further than like stretching the whole width of the band over me. But I did a French seam to attach the ends once I got a length that I can like fit over me, because the first loop I made is not big enough because it has a different stretch than this, and I just kind of lined it up with the bottom. But I'm very glad that I paid attention to that before assembling. Okay, so yes, French seam, just because it's sheer and that tends to lend itself to that type of material. So I have my top inside out, and I'm just gonna line this up right sides together. So I'm gonna do that quartering thing where you mark the seam, the midpoint, and then the midpoints of those midpoints, and then you can keep pinning the midpoints as many more as you need. I tend to go with either 4 or 8. So you do that to each layer you're attaching to each other, and then you line up the pins as you go around and stretch it accordingly. I did switch to a ballpoint needle, and I'll be using a zigzag stitch for this first step. There's gonna be a lot of reinforcing here. No, these won't be made super time efficiently, but they're gonna be made to my standards of quality, which also means I put my clothing through the ringer because I wear the same 7 fucking outfits all the time and they need to be durable. So we're gonna do a zigzag stitch to do the initial attaching. I'm gonna serge those edges to finish them. And then at the end of all of this, I'm going to flip this out, top stitch the seam allowance with a twin needle, but I'm going to do all the twin needling at the end. I've done a lot of like prep sewing bits, so I kind of forgot where I left off here. But this is what I have so far with the lace being attached. And I'm really excited. I think it's gonna look really nice. But I haven't serged any of that yet because I wanted to like do a batch of serging. I think that's what it's called, is like batch sewing, where you kind of get a bunch of machine steps done, then you serge stuff, and then you iron stuff, so you're not like switching between one every 3 seconds. You can kind of save a bunch of pieces to press out at the same time and just do it all at once, which is my preferred mode of working. It does expedite the process a little bit. I did already stitch together the skirt main pieces, and also just so I can show you what the layout looks like, because it was going to be hard to just hold the pieces up. As you can see, this is a super basic skirt pattern. You just got to make sure it's going to fit over your hip. I don't know if you can really see the shape of the black. I also realized that was a bad description. So this shape here, where it's very straight for most of the side, and then it tapers up just a bit at the top. So the main structure of this is done. I want the stripe bits off to the sides. Then I already made the straps. I don't actually think they're long enough, but I'm hoping they'll stretch. If not, I'll add a little length to them. This is the main waistband piece. There's a facing to it. It's a pretty basic shape. It has a little bit of a curve to it, but nothing severe. And then I have my narrowed in Pinafore pieces. So this will be the outside. And then for the facing on that and for the waistband, I have this more faded, crappier black fabric that I don't like being visible, but it's good for linings. So here's the order of things. So the straps have to get made first. And then as you're constructing the Pinafore, the straps have to be inserted into the top seam of the Pinafore panel, right? Again, excuse the bad drawing. So here are my little noodle strings. Those have to get inserted into the top of the Pinafore. Once the straps are in the Pinafore and that's all sewn and turned out right sides out, then that gets inserted into the waistband, which then gets attached to the skirt. This is going to go so much quicker and smoother than the last Pinafore I made because I'm doing things in the proper order of operations. But I am at the point where I need to serge a bunch of stuff and then iron it, and then I can get to assembling everything together. All right, so I did a bunch of the pressing and I serged everything and I put the skirt pretty much together. I believe other than attaching the straps to the back, it's just a matter of using the twin needle, which is the sewing part I'm going to show you because it's fun and I'm determined to show you without breaking the fucking twin needle this time. So I thought I would show you the fitting part of this, which is not too bad. It is more fitted here because it's thinner material, and that means the waistband is looser, so it wants to drop down a little lower. And I have to say, I'm really, really pleased with the size of the Pinafore. I'm very, very happy that I did these at the sides like this. Hell yeah. I'm just gonna fold it over once or twice with that serged edge. Something I'd like to mention is that when I have big bulky seams like that, and I can actually adjust the presser foot pressure on my machine. So I've had it down at a 2, and that's kept it from bunching when it's trying to go over the seam like that, as well as I have a walking foot. And I do feel like there was one other really helpful thing that I was thinking of telling you when I was sewing, and now it has exited my brain. Fucked if I know what that was. Okay, well, maybe if I think of it later, I will mention it, or maybe it was just the presser foot pressure. This is why anytime I get a comment that's like, oh, I'm so jealous of your brain. You're not, I promise, because it is kind of a shit show in there. Sure, fun ideas happen that I'm really proud of most of the time, but like, at what cost? Okay, so the fitting of this is good. I'm going to cross these straps in the back and sew them to the very top of the waistband here. Then it's time to hem and do the fancy twin needle top stitching. It's not actually that fancy, and honestly, so much easier than I thought it was. I will show you. Let me put my pants back on. Well, hello. Welcome to the machine. Can we talk about how cute the dog is being right now? What are you sniffing? He's sniffing like I have food, which I don't have. I have iced coffee. Ah! Such a ferocious beat. Why did you just kick the pig? All right, so my straps have been attached at the back. I tried to do a nice, neat job. For the twin needle, before I do anything else, I'm making sure this is on a straight stitch. I want nice long stitches, so mine's between a 3 and 4 on my machine. I have one spool already locked and loaded up here, and I have this secondary spindle up here. So we're gonna switch to a second spool of thread. I'm actually going to pull this one out. I know you're not supposed to pull thread backwards out of the machine like that, but no one's here to stop me, so fuck you. All right, so I'm gonna thread both of these through like I would just any normal single thread. Okay, cool. Bobbin is loaded just like normal. We don't touch the bobbin. Then I was very kindly gifted all of these from my fairy god Cheryl because she's a fucking magical entity. And like, I literally wouldn't be this far along in my sewing journey without her and a lot of you. Both like verbal support in the comments and telling me tricks on how to better insert zippers and just fucking hand sew hems, especially when they're not just straight hems. It's not worth the headache of fighting with the machine to make it look nice. But also those of you that like literally financially support me. Not that I ever expect any type of gifting situation. Cheryl regularly goes above and beyond, and like I get pretty emotional thinking about how generous she is. Similarly, Jeanette and Anna and Amanda and John and Amanda and Chris and Rob and Doug and Sam and so many more of you. It is literally because of y'all that I have been able to progress so much this year, because I can make it part of my job to do this. It wouldn't be this way without you. Super epic monster sized thanks to all of you over on my Patreon, because holy shit, I can't believe so many of you care that hard. I'm so fucking lucky. I got so deep in the cheese I got a little lightheaded there. All right, anyways, we're gonna load our twin needle guy, which matches my new glasses. I'm sure you noticed the new glasses already. Ooh, let's do a little fashion shoot at the end, and you can give me your opinions, because there's a pair I'm really not sold on. I don't know if I'm just being down on myself or it's just not for my face. Okay, since I went on a ramble, I'm gonna double check everything is set right. All right, then I'm gonna load the twin needle in. This is also specifically a ballpoint twin needle. And then you just put one of the threads through the left side and one of the threads through the right side. Oh, and one other thing, my machine has this dial over here where you can adjust the position left to right of the needles in this case. So I'm just making sure it's in the center, because sometimes I'll have it way over to the side and it'll kind of interfere with this leg on the foot. The legs are on the foot. The toes? Do you call them the toes? I don't like that as much. Let's zoom you in so you can see the action. Pulled back, bobbins situated like normal. So I'm gonna do twin needle top stitching on two different, hard to do when zoomed in, two different types of seams. One's like this, where everything is already attached, but I want the seam allowance to sit to one side, especially here with the lace. I don't want it peeking out. And like I said, these bulky spots here, if you're having issues with it, just lessen your presser foot pressure. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna tuck that under there. And then I will also be using it to do hemming. So this is one of the sleeves of the crop top. So I'll just fold this under once and then twice. There's no back stitching to start like you would with a normal straight stitch, but I'm gonna start a little ways behind the seam, and then once I come all the way back around, I will overlap my first couple stitches, so that'll help lock them into place. I'm lining up the edge of this fabric with the outer edge of this foot. There are also different width options with the needles, so I picked the middle one, where this is real narrow, and then this one's super wide. All right, no back stitching, we're on a straight stitch. It doesn't look like the needles are going to hit anything. And especially because I'm new to this, I'm just taking this super slow. I'd rather not break anything or have things go off course. Again, I'm over just trying to pump out things as fast as possible and then getting mad at myself if it takes any length of time to finish a thing. I want to get good at all of these skills, and then I can work on my efficiency. And hot damn, the improvements I have made just making that mental switch this year is out of this fucking world. So I will continue on that path, especially since, like, you're never done learning things. Sewing is my favorite thing to do, so I'm not in a rush to, like, make myself bored with everything. I am so excited to do shit like learn how to use twin needles. This is a lot of fun. And I get to share it with all of you, which is exciting because then you get to make cooler shit, or you already know how to do it, but it reminds you that, oh yeah, I have one of those and I used to use it all the time, that I never take it out anymore. That is the service I'm trying to provide here. And it's also selfishly for me to get better at my favorite thing. Okay, so I'm at the end, well, back at the beginning, I suppose. So I'm gonna make sure those starting threads are out of the way, It looks like the stitches were skipping back here. I'm gonna try to lower the presser foot down to a 1, see if that helps. And yeah, I'm going back over those first couple stitches I did. Okay, so I left a little bit of a tail from those threads because if I pull the bottom thread, it'll tug those 2 top side threads through to the back. I don't know if this is a thing other people do, but I don't know, it makes me feel better. So I'm gonna tie a knot with those. Kind of like when you leave tails on your darts. Oh, and cool, it looks like that second time I went over this with the lighter presser foot pressure, it seems to have actually done the stitches there. All right, yeah, it seems to have stitched better there. Cool, well, we learned a thing. All right, and then that is what the twin needle stitching looks like. I am pretty pleased. I'm going to do that same stitch on like every seam on the skirt and then the sleeves on the top, and then do a little show and tell at the end. How does that sound? All right, and the grand reveal. What do y'all think? I don't hate it. It is not what I expected it to be, but I actually like this better. I kind of like that the Pinafore is sitting so high, so there's just the littlest bit of meat showing between the bottom of the top and the top of the bottom. I could make the straps longer and pull it down a little bit, but it's fine. At first I actually didn't love the lace on the crop top, but once the whole thing was together and it forms this cool line in the front, I don't know, it just looks really neat having the Pinafore like it is and having only the arms visible. The way the neckline is cut, I don't know, it just looks really cool with this particular garment. And I love the back. Obviously that hangs a little looser, and yeah, with a pair of tights, I might actually wear this out in the world without thinking about it too much, which is a step in the right direction. It may not be a big step too many, but yeah, I never show any of my middle bits. Right, as for glasses, would you do me the kindness and tell me your thoughts on my glasses? I ordered 3 new pairs. The first pair I didn't like as much at first, but I've been wearing them the past couple days and they're all right. They're a little clunky, but I'm just leaning into it. This round pair is the one I do not know if I'm going to, I mean, I have nothing else to do with them, but like, I don't know, man. These are a tough sell. It's a very new shape to me. I've never worn round glasses, so that's probably a big part of it. And then these black cat eye ones, I actually really, really dig. These are my favorite out of the pair, and by pair I mean 3. They just seem to suit me well. This is also a different shape than I've tried before, but it just feels right. So yeah, all right. I'm giving the round ones a little more time. Maybe that's the only problem. I don't know. I don't know how I feel. Anyway, it's time for me to stop filming myself. Although before y'all go, speaking of round glasses, I would really like to recommend Carla from TinyAngryCrafts. She has a great Instagram, but as well she has started posting YouTube videos, and there's a new series she's starting where she's going through all her vintage patterns. And I love all her like little anecdotes and stories about each one and just like fun little stuff she finds. I like that she takes her time with each one, because I've seen vintage pattern hauls or people going through their collection and it's just like boom, boom, boom. She gives you the reason she likes specific ones other than this one's cute. She just makes it more personal, and I really, really like that. And she is just killing it with the round frame game. As for me, you can find all my shit in the description. My Patreon, my Etsy. I have stuff coming. That's why I couldn't bring you over to the cutting table, because it's covered in inventory that is going to have a veil of mystery around it. Keep your eyes peeled over there. I have been very hard at work, and it's been exciting, but hard when you can't share everything. But soon. The spooky season is upon us. Anyways, any other place you want to find me on the internet will be linked below, as well as Carla's channel. And I will see you back here with another video next Friday. Thank you so much for hanging out. You choose your own potion.